Hey, welcome back to Geekshow Helpdesk.
Why,
Hey.
hello
Hi,
there.
dear listener. How are you?
Welcome. This is Geekshow Helpdesk, where we talk about tech, gadgets, and sciencey related things. Usually space stuff, sometimes medical science.
Sometimes
Also-
nuclear things.
You know what?
Once
There's
in
a
while,
lot of
nuclear
there's a lot of
stuff,
space.
fusion. Yep,
There's a lot of space on the show today.
that's what I like to hear.
And you'll be able to see my cognitive decline during these next 2 hours live.
Guarantee.
Oh yeah,
If you're
we're
watching
past
on
the
YouTube.
Jaren Pumpkin time.
Yep. All right, let's go around the horn, introducing our panelists right here to my right, left. It reverses. I don't know. It's Owen.
That way. I always have to reverse it. Hey, everybody.
That way.
Yeah, that's me. Here again, back again in my stupid button-up polo shirt. You can catch me here and on the Geek Show Arcade.
Yeah. And in the direction that doesn't change, down, it's Jaren.
I'm Jaren.
All right. And next to Jaren, we got Lando.
I am not Jaren. My name is Lando. I'm the coolest one on the podcast.
Never lacks confidence, that Lando.
Are you
Deserve
cooler
it-
than our host?
Deserve it or not, he never
We got a
lacks
host.
confidence.
His name is Tony.
Are you
would've got
cooler
there.
than our host? Oh.
Hey,
I
check
tried
me out
to
on
segue.
Twitter at QuadTTony. Usually, lately, just tweet out things complaining about stuff, Wheel of Time, politics, things
That
like
makes
that.
sense. Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, Wheel of Time.
Oh,
Tony.
Oh, no.
oh, dude.
I'm gonna go
Tony.
to the bathroom.
This book 5 stuff, man.
Save it for the in-between. I
Yeah,
have thoughts on
That's in
Dresden.
between talk
so.
for sure. Excellent. All right.
All right.
Let's see. Do we have any glorious emails?
No.
Do we have any regular emails?
No.
Oh, dang it.
Oh,
I
also
like that
sad
you
day.
knew you had to ask that. I knew you knew. I'm glad you knew you had to ask Jaren that because that is absolutely a Jaren thing.
100%.
All right. Well, if you do want to write in and ask us anything or comment on something,
Or make fun of Jaren, Orlando, or Tony, but not
yeah.
me.
Any of those, Owen especially.
Not me.
The email
I can't take
address
it.
is geekshowhelpdesk@gmail.com. That's geekshowhelpdesk@gmail.com. Falling back into my radio talk. That's weird. All right. Let's kick off some story times.
Tell us a story, host Tony. Tell us a story.
I have a story here for you, dear listener, a story of how a company could have claimed the top spot undisputedly and then fumbled at the 1-yard line. And that company is AMD.
Ugh.
The AMD Ryzen 9000 CPU launch this last month. It's not being described as a huge failure, but it's definitely being described as far worse than
Meh?
it should have been. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very meh. Very
Meh.
meh. When all they had to do was come out and price things correctly and be honest about how their stuff performed, and they would have taken top spot easily,
They
especially
had to
considering
know.
Intel.
They had to know people are going to rip it apart.
Especially knowing and considering that Intel is having issues with their 13th
Yeah.
and 14th gen CPUs.
Yeah.
So here's the skinny. AMD Ryzen 9000 CPUs have been measured and weighed and found wanting.
Underwhelming.
I love that movie.
They're just not performing as good as people expected, nor even are they performing as good as AMD said they would. AMD promised a 16% IPC increase minimum, and they're not usually even getting close to that, especially if you look at the gaming numbers. They're actually somewhat worse in a lot of games than the 7000 series.
Are they held to account for that at all? You know, how, like
mean-
a car says they can do 40 miles a gallon, and then they take it out of the track, and they can't, and then they get sued.
There's certain synthetic benchmarks that they can do that will come out close to what they touted.
So
But I don't think
technically,
it's held to the
under
same
these
standard.
perfect conditions.
Yeah,
it'll come
but I
out
also
to
don't
what they
think
said.
I don't think it's held to the same standard because this is just stuff they talk about when they're like showing it off. It's not like
Right.
in the advertisement of the device. It
Okay.
says guaranteed 16% uplift IPC, blah blah blah.
Okay.
I linked to an article here from Ars Technica. If anyone wants to read that in our show notes.
It's not entirely bad though.
No. It's not all bad. They definitely hit their what do you call it? not performance,
Efficiency?
efficiency. That's the word. Thank you.
And their microcode's not destroying the chips slowly, right?
Also true.
That's a
Okay.
bonus.
Take that,
so-
Intel.
So like 9600X versus the 7600X, it's going from 105 watt TDP to 65 watt TDP. Huge decrease in power,
Right.
yet it's pretty similar in benchmarks.
It's performing just slightly higher, maybe just barely out of the envelope of what you would call, man, my brain's not working. Marginal
Dunk.
error.
Play
Marginal
the
error.
Windows error
Yeah,
sound.
seriously.
So while for desktop it doesn't seem that
That's the
great.
wrong one.
It's still good.
So that's the problem when you're looking at it from a desktop perspective. People are not interested in something that's
As
much more
much.
efficient than the previous
Nah, yeah.
generation.
We're looking for that laptop.
They're looking for that's mobile territory
This
right there.
this could be great for handhelds or
Exactly.
laptops.
But as far as desktops go, most people just want something faster that usually sits within the same power envelope. If it's better, then that's
Yeah.
good. But if it's, if it's the same, nobody complains. It's only when you do an Intel where you have the power envelope go from like 150 one generation to
And this-
250 watts the next
and not
generation.
not that same level of performance.
Yeah,
increase, right?
you know,
Like
100% more power needed for a 4% increase in
yeah.
performance, kind of a thing. So that's the problem that's happening right now with the Intel 9000, or sorry, Ryzen 9000. I'm just so used to bagging on Intel when it came
Just
out.
like-
Freudian
just
slip.
like Intel, those. I mean,
So the AMD stuff is hitting its efficiency goals, but it's just not hitting the gains that they talked about, and in some cases, it's actually worse. This does not bode well either for the X3.
oh come on,
X3D chips.
I was waiting for the X3D to come out.
later on in the year. I'm not saying it's a lost cause by any stretch. They could still definitely pull some awesome engineering out of their hat for this, and they can probably make these CPUs better as well with microcode updates and things like that. But out the
So
gate,
they
it's a
were
bad look.
they were either lying about their internal benchmarks or some major glitch that they haven't fixed yet.
Precisely.
I'm hoping
Yep.
it's the latter.
Yeah. And the other thing too is it's a double shame because these actually came out cheaper than last gen's launch. They were less expensive from the get-go, but even with that price cut, the performance difference isn't enough to
How
make
did they
it
perform
get anyone
over-
excited, because those 7000 series chips now are cheaper anyway on the open market.
So besides the efficiency, how does it perform against the 7000 on the?
It's fine.
Okay.
Some things are a little bit better, but some things are actually a little bit worse. And so
Worse than the last gen.
Yeah,
Ugh.
that's the problem. There's an interesting clip about this in the Digital Foundry Direct episode this week, where they pointed to a couple of sources that said that the biggest problem that's being seen right now from the people that are deep diving this is the CPUs. The AMD CPUs have that infinity cache that connects the two CPU clusters, right? And apparently the latency in the 7000 series between the two CPU clusters was like 70 milliseconds, and it said 74, and in the new chips it's 192 milliseconds.
You'll
So
feel that.
it's much higher latency, and nobody knows why. So hopefully they can fix that with microcode or a BIOS update or something. But anyway, that's where we're at with that. We'll keep you posted on anything that changes along the way, and just hope and pray that the X3D series doesn't have this same kind of problem, because I was already locked and loaded, ready to upgrade.
Same here. I
when
was
those
kind of
come
on
out
the
later this year or early next year. I was already ready to go, and now
I gotta. Ooh.
I don't know.
Did they come
now-
out with a 7700 series
they
with
did.
the X3D?
So now I'm kind of looking at it thinking maybe I'll get the new chipset, the new motherboard, and get the old CPU if there's not enough performance gains to make
Yeah,
it
if
worth
it's
it.
marginal. If it's marginal,
I
like
might just wait another generation at that point.
Well, I like some of the stuff that the chipset does better on the motherboards for the newer gen, like more PCIe 5 lanes and stuff like that. So, there's going to be more NVMe slots, things like that, more USB-C, more USB-A. Jaron, I know you need a few more of those. So,
Indeed, I could use more USB A.
So that's what I mean.
They'll have room
Like,
to put the IR blaster back in and all that
yeah,
too. So.
guarantee. You know, they'll all have IR blasters. IR
Better.
blasters for everyone.
For everybody. Switch that hard drive on with the IR blaster. Click.
So I think I'll still be upgrading, but I might stick with the 7000 this time around. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, moving along. Let's talk about space. Oh wait, actually, let's not talk about space yet because Owen has an AMD article here.
I
we can
do.
tie into.
Oh, I do have. So I
do? What,
I,
hey,
I
I
knew I did, but I thought
Did
I
ya?
put it.
Past
I thought
Owen's
I put it
amazing.
on. I know. Look at this guy. So they're entering the Thunderdome. I just thought that'd be cool to say. It's less cool now that I hear myself say it out loud. So AMD has bought. They're trying to catch up to Nvidia, right?
Yeah, they want that AI money.
They want that AI money. They got those. They got their epics. They got their server class stuff.
Still
but-
definitely the leader on CPUs and the
Yeah.
enterprise level stuff. Far and
And but they want to get into that sweet AI stuff, and so they just bought an AI intelligence infrastructure group called ZT Systems for a cool 4.9 billion. But that's actually not their biggest purchase. AMD just bought the Xilinx for 35 billion in 2022. Anyway, ZT Systems, they were founded like 30 years ago, and they build custom computing infrastructure for like all the biggest AI hyperscalers, like Microsoft, Meta, Amazon. So they were kind of in that data aggregation and data collection and AI training thing. Those really big tech companies that have been doing it for a while. That's who some of these customers are for. And so they bought these guys to kind of get a shot in the arm, because these guys will now offer, as part of their service to these people, their chips, the MI300 line of AI chips.
Yeah, the Instinct
Yeah.
line from AMD.
So
What'll be interesting is, a company that's buying the product might say, yeah, like your Instinct stuff is nice, but I really want NVIDIA. So are you going to sell us NVIDIA even though you're owned by AMD?
yeah,
That would be an interesting conversation. They have to,
They have
there's
to
no
do
way
it.
they can't just cut that
Yep.
out of the pipeline, because
Well,
people will go somewhere else.
And that's the thing. In last March, ZT Systems, they announced a partnership with NVIDIA to build custom AI infrastructure using their Blackwell chips.
That's
And
like saying, well, if we can't sell you the GPU, we'll sell you everything around the GPU.
Yeah, they're the miners, the pickaxes, the shovels, and so, and AMD says they're going to honor that. They are going to, they said, we believe ZT as part of AMD will significantly accelerate the adoption of the new AMD AI solutions. But we have customer commitments, and we are certainly going to honor those. And I feel like there's a parentheses or like a, ellipsis that says for a little while.
Yeah, a little asterisk
Yeah,
right
like
there.
I think they air quoted that maybe. We're certainly going
Here's
to
what
honor
I'm betting.
them.
Here's what I'm betting will happen. Every new
New
sale
customers,
from here on out, new customer, new sale,
Yeah.
they'll be like, yeah. I mean, we can give you the NVIDIA stuff, or we can give you ours for way cheaper, and they'll just super undercut.
Here's a good comparison. Back in the tomato shortage, this is a good one, by the way, so just stick with me.
What?
Back in the
Where's
tomato
this?
shortage,
What's happening?
Just follow along. In the tomato shortage of 2021, maybe it was 2019. Wendy's.
Tomato?
There was a
Oh,
freeze.
I
tomato
remember
shortage?
that actually. Now,
Wendy's
as soon
How
as
did
you
this happen,
mentioned-
Owen?
As soon
What?
as you mentioned Wendy's, I was like, oh, I remember this.
Wendy's changed their structure so that instead of including tomato by default, you had to specifically ask for it.
Yep.
And they saved a lot of money doing it, because tomatoes were still for sale. You paid triple for them,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And so Wendy's switched their business model to say, well, let's just not say anything, and if they specifically want it, then they can have it. And I feel like that's what they'll do with NVIDIA. They'll be like, we offer this as default. If you
Yeah.
want NVIDIA,
Yeah.
you got to say it. Otherwise, you get, it'll probably be in there, you use whatever we tell you unless you specifically do it.
That
So
makes sense.
tomato shortage of the 20 sometime in the last 10 years.
That felt
Yeah.
like a stretch, but okay.
No,
It was a
I
good one.
I don't know. I think that's pretty accurate.
I think it is. I think a
Stretch.
lot
I
of
agree
people
with
out
Lando.
there. No,
Thank
just
you,
because you
Jaren.
guys don't
Thank
like
you.
tomatoes,
It's just a little
Oh,
stretch.
I love tomatoes.
Not a big stretch. Just
I
a
do
little
not.
stretch.
just change your opinion, Jaren. Support tomatoes and the stories therein, thereof. There,
All
where,
right.
anyway.
Therewith.
There, thank you, Jaren. Gosh, I was gonna get there. You know that.
I don't.
Okay, let's talk about companies not doing right by the customer, or maybe kind of halfway right. I don't know how I feel about this. Let's talk about the Anova sous vide.
Yeah, they've had sous vide products for a long time,
About 10 years.
and with those products, they have a Bluetooth connection, right? Most of them have a Bluetooth connection with an accompanying
Or
Several
app.
of
Wi-Fi,
them.
or both.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Well, they've recently announced that this app, which has been free for a decade, will now be subscription.
They're gonna charge for their app?
Paywall.
If-
Boom.
If you don't have an account before, what is it, August 21st?
August 21st.
Yeah.
So tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
after this podcast is released.
Yeah. Sorry,
Perfect.
people.
On the day of.
You better get out there and tweet that right now, Lando.
The
I don't
problem
give a
is
shit.
Like-
I'm a Jewel guy.
the
Screw those guys.
the account wasn't necessary to use the app, and so a lot of people who use it won't have an account, and they're not up on tech news. Suddenly, they'll have to pay.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
BS.
That's pretty poopy.
That's pretty shady.
That's
Because
so
then they're gonna be
all
like,
the way.
because they're gonna be like, wait a second, why isn't it working? And they go to the app store to get the app, and it's a subscription, or is it a one-time app?
$2
purchase?
a month or $10 a year.
$2 a month?
to use a sous vide?
I think
To
it's
use
just for
the
the
app?
connectivity features.
Well, what?
Well,
Can
what's
you
the
cre-
point of the freaking app without the connectivity features?
Still
I
has
better create an
recipes.
account right now, even though I'll never know. Don't
You
know if
could
I'll ever
sell
own
it.
one.
No,
You could
okay,
sell
here's what you're gonna do. Here's what you're gonna do. Don't buy that one. Go buy the Breville Jewel. Done.
No, I'm
It's a
gonna-
better product
no,
anyway.
This is like buying up domain names and Twitter handles. Like, you got to go get an account right now.
See, I thought you were going to talk about the fact that they stopped supporting their first gen model after 10 years on Bluetooth.
No, go for it.
I'm
Tony.
actually okay with that.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, I don't know if I'm that mad about this, because that's what I thought you were going to talk about. But this other piece about that app is dog doo. Dog doo-doo.
Poopy.
Well, now
so
I
the-
have an
so-
account.
So they did announce as well, I guess along with this, or maybe right before this, that they are going to stop supporting the 10-year-old model for Bluetooth. So you can still, and that's the model I have, so you can still use it like you would any other normal sous vide with just the controls on the device, and it works
Well,
just fine.
that's the thing is like the Breville Jewel that I have, there's no controls on the device. It is all
Oh.
through Bluetooth and Wi-Fi.
So in my opinion, that's not as good of a product. That's not a better
Yeah,
product.
I agree.
Oh, I see.
That's a worse
Yeah, but
product.
it's half the size and it's twice the power.
Maybe from their first gen, not their third gen, I don't think. Because here's another thing they offered when I logged in, and I just happened to find out about this the other day because I used my sous vide for the first time in like a month. And it said, hey, we're discontinuing this, but as a token of, sorry or good faith or whatever, we'll sell you our third gen one for 50% off if you want to buy it right now. So I did. So I picked up the new one, the third gen.
Yeah,
and-
I just got a new my first gen Jewel that came from Chef Steps died. Finally, I was one of the earliest purchasers of the product.
Yeah.
And I bought the latest Breville branded one, and it's great, man. That thing is so much faster to heat the water than the first gen one was. Like, it's noticeably faster. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this one, because this one is supposedly faster than the first gen as well. So I'm curious to see how fast it works.
Check this
But,
link out. I think that they updated their blog and said they're not doing this anymore with that Anova thing.
What?
Real time.
I just sent that link right there. I was gonna go make an account,
Here.
and it
Take a
says
peek
after rolling
here.
out so it says the reason why they thought they should do this is because they're
Where'd you
gonna
put this link.
It's in the notes here.
Oh,
on
why the
on-
change? Voice control.
over here on?
So that's why they were doing it. They were going to
stream
have a new
here.
feature.
They were gonna have
Oh,
it
stream
have
here,
it.
okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna be on Amazon Echo, Google Voice, whatever. And so they thought, whatever. But here in the last sentence, after rolling out our latest update, it became apparent that this mandatory requirement is unfair. We're sorry.
Oh shit,
We're
Sherlock.
in bold. We're sorry. We just dumped a requirement on our community without giving you a choice.
Yeah.
Here's what we're going to do about it. We're working on an app update, which we hope to have available within the next 2 weeks. By the way, this was published on the 5th. No
15th.
way. No, this is 2023.
2023.
This is
an old
bullcrap.
blog post, dude.
This is bullcrap.
Yep.
Nice
No
one, Owen.
way.
You guys, I
Real
saw
time.
August. Look
Real time.
Look how
Yeah,
close I
it's-
was. I just didn't read the last number. Farts.
It's close. It's close.
Sorry, screw these guys again. I'm getting an account. Sorry.
Yeah. So
I signed up for a beta account. I don't think that's the same thing though.
I just signed up through the app. So when-
Oh,
I have a
idea.
Breville.
Good idea.
I'm great. I don't need this crap.
Yeah, but it's not
would
about
argue,
that,
I would
Lando.
argue, Lando, that is a worse product because you are 100% dependent upon the wireless connection of that product.
So-
if that ever
so-
dies,
Well, no,
you're
it's
done.
wireless and Bluetooth. It has
So,
Bluetooth and wireless.
Either way, they're both wireless protocols.
Here's the
that
other
could
thing.
Fail.
That's like saying you shouldn't ever use Bluetooth earbuds because they could fail someday. That's bullshit.
incorrect.
Sorry.
Incorrect.
That's,
It's not-
that's
family
stupid. That's the
show.
dumbest
No,
argument I've heard in my life.
So
Nope. That's not
I'm
the
gonna
same.
tell you. I'm gonna tell you this though. Me reading that article, that latest erroneous blog post, like an idiot, still shows something though. That
It's
they're
possible
walking
that they'll
back.
walk it
That
back, yeah.
that they've already done this once and it didn't work, and now they just
This is
waited a
round-
year
This is round 2.
and they did it again.
You have to create an account and purchased a product prior to August 21st. Well, I'm out. I just
Oh,
created
yeah.
an account for no reason.
Yes, I was too slow. I didn't. I tried to find it. I'm like, where do you sign up at? This is dumb. I'm gonna have to figure this out. I'm glad that you figured that out, Jaron. Saved me moments of my
That's what I'm
life.
here for. I do the reading.
Anyway,
the
it looks
talking.
like they have a track
we
record.
appreciate that about you, Jaron.
Yeah,
Great-
you know
great
what?
try,
I
great
do.
try.
I do. To be fair,
To be fair.
thank you.
Yeah.
I outed
Fair.
myself on that before you guys did. I want to point that out. Before you guys did, I noticed that it was 2023.
It's
so-
true, but it would have been
do-
so much more sweet had I have noticed.
I know.
You
like
do get a few points back, I suppose.
beat Jaron by moments, and it's
Mere
the only
seconds.
redeeming factor of that whole thing. Anyway,
All right, let's talk about. Let's
you were
talk about
supposed to give
space
me
stuff.
you're supposed to give me the beep noise.
There
There it
you
is. Out of the Colonel Panic. There it
I'll
is.
just keep going.
still
until we
talking.
stop talking.
Colonel Panic. Oh. It still hurts every time.
All right, now let's get on to the space stuff. Let's kick it off with terraforming Mars.
This is pretty cool. So I read this article on space.com about using tiny dust nanoparticles to help terraform Mars by absorbing and trapping heat. So they call these things nanorods. They're itty-bitty tiny little dust particles, 9 millionths of a meter in length, about the same size as glitter.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
And they're designed to be half the wavelength of thermal radiation, so they more efficiently heat or absorb the heat leaking away from Mars, and also helping the greenhouse gas effect trap heat from the sun into
So
Mars.
It's an insulator for the air, basically, on Mars.
That's exactly what it is.
And because of the rod shape, I read this. It's really good. Because of the rod shape, it stays
Mm-hmm.
suspended better in the atmosphere that is almost non-existent.
Yep, it could warm up Mars's temperature by over 50 degrees Fahrenheit within months.
Months?
Wow.
Months.
Can you
So
imagine
global
Crazy,
warming on Mars
right?
good. Global warming on Earth bad.
Can you imagine
exactly.
Exactly.
like we got to be looking at this on this planet? Like, what if they spilled a bag of this stuff? Like, if it can warm up
See.
an entire planet
Like
in
it's
They spill some
by
on
50
Earth.
degrees.
Uh-oh.
Like one truckload gets derailed, and we're like, guess we're going to Mars now.
Game over.
it would warm up the planet warm enough to unfreeze the frozen water there and allow microbial
Organisms.
microbial life, this honey little life.
Microbial.
Like microbial, that's the word I can't say.
Microbial.
Life
Yeah.
could thrive.
Get him,
it
Jaron.
could warm the planet that much. Like that's a big freaking deal.
No, that's huge.
Is Mars core? Is it still spinning? Is it
I
slower?
don't think it is.
Oh, so
It
how
doesn't
can
have
it
a
ever?
magnetic field.
So yeah, oh yeah. So how can
Or
it
if
ever?
it does, it's incredibly weak. I can't remember which
Yeah.
one it is.
Oh yeah, that's where this stuff will also shield us shield it from the solar radiation.
Just to be clear, this is not to make it habitable for humans, but other micro life forms. But would also help us live there because it
Yeah.
won't be so cold.
Yeah, exactly.
This would be great news. This would
You'd
be
still
cool.
have to you just still have to live in a dome because there's not
Yeah.
a ton of oxygen, obviously, in the air.
Details.
But you wouldn't have to worry as much about the radiation or the temperature. So
It's cool stuff. I thought this was
that's
really
way
interesting.
cool. That's a lot better than Elon Musk's idea of just
Nuking
nuking it.
Of course it is. Of course it's better.
blow
Let's
up
just, let's just nuke it
and
a
then
couple times,
and then just
that'll-
watch all that water
Just fix it
evaporate
all.
and float off the planet. What an idiot!
So the only
Alright.
catch to this, it would take 70 million cubic feet.
But they can create it there, right?
Yeah, but they can create it there.
they create
nice.
it with the Mars.
Yeah, but it
with the
would take a
Martian-
lot of it.
Yeah,
is my
sure.
point.
We can send machines. We got machines for days, right? We've already
true.
sent rovers there. What if we just had a rover there that's just plants down and starts pumping that stuff out, scoots it butt along, and just makes.
You still need millions of tons to warm the planet, but
we got
The
resources.
sooner you get
Let's-
started, the sooner you'll get done.
yeah. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The next
That's
best
right.
time is today.
Right
Let's
now.
get those robots going. Like we got resources for days. They're unmanned. They can't experience pain. So if they crash, it's
It's just money lost.
yeah,
that's all.
yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
super interesting
Cool
stuff.
stuff. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about SpaceTime. Or do you want to talk
SpaceTime.
about the other one first? More space stuff.
Hold
More
on.
space stuff.
More
Let's do
space
the
stuff?
asteroid mining first.
Okay, asteroid mining is, we've joked about it. People have talked about those trillions and trillions, quintillion dollar asteroids, like basically an asteroid the size of New York that's all platinum,
Palladium.
palladium, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I
flying
think
around.
There was a platinum one too, though.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Owen
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah. I'm paraphrasing, but yes, they are Owen facts. Seems to be all the rage nowadays. These are Owen-ternal facts, alternate facts.
We're just as reliable as AI with facts.
Yeah, seriously.
Alternowin.
Like, I mean,
Alternowin facts.
I'm not even as well versed, so at least mine aren't going to be so wild. Anyway, there is a company that I think we even talked about, and because we brought up an article from when they first got funding and when they first got off the ground, and there is a company that is gonna do it. They've got a CubeSat that they're gonna go find and catch up. They've got plans to go catch up to an asteroid, which is sorry, my brain is farting itself to death right now. It's made up of
Colonel
iron.
Panic.
Sorry. Yeah, seriously, it's bad. Thank you. It's made of iron, and they're like, this is actually kind of easy to approach and hook onto because it's iron, so we can just use magnets.
How do they work?
Yeah, they're just gonna. The company's name is Astroforge,
That's a
which I think
cool
is
name.
which I think is cool. And they have an asteroid mining, and they just completed a Series A funding round where they just made $40 million. So
They have enough for half of one of their
they've got
satellites.
one. Yeah, they've got enough to go play at the poker table with Elon to see if they can fly.
Yeah.
So they don't just have the money, they've got a plan for 3 individual launches with a set plan. It's hard because there's been no other space agency or organization that has done something as complicated as like lining up and meeting up with an asteroid.
Oh, you're hitting the ultimate moving target. you know?
Yeah, right. And they're
You're talking
moving,
about
and they're going
something-
fast. You have
yeah.
to like
and the vastness of space in between
Yeah.
you and that target is
and when you
the
think
math
about
is ridiculous.
And when you think about hitting something going as fast as you have to go, that's going maybe a little slower, like just micro, what do they call those, micro asteroids or whatever, like specks of dust, or like that can just pulverize the
yeah, yeah.
devices because you're moving so fast.
Microids or meteoroids or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, those little tiny ones. You hit one of those, oh, that's it for the satellite.
That's it.
This
Look
this
what
thing's only
James
the size
Webb-
of a shoebox.
James,
you know, so
James Webb already has a few dings and dents from those guys. But anyway, so they're gonna go do that. They have 3 separate launches planned. One is just a discovery to see if they can go take some pictures, do some spectrolysis. Come on, Jaron.
Owen fact.
No, spectrometry, spectroscopy. Anyway, you know,
Spectrometer readings.
there you go. Thanks,
We'll
Tony,
go
for
with that.
reading the letters.
We'll go with that.
That's good
Yeah,
enough.
that uses a mass spectrometer.
There you go. Anyway, they're going to go take some pictures first. Let me just do this the own way. First, they're going to go take some pictures. Then they're going to go and try, and they're going to have a bigger satellite with a baby satellite piggybacking off it. They're going to go try and maybe collect some stuff. And then the third one is they're going to go try and land on it with a big one. There you go.
Pretty soon here, we're gonna have the full-on.
They don't want to
going.
They
here.
don't want
Belters and
They're not saying what asteroids they're planning to get. There are 10 million, by the way, 10 million asteroids that would fly within one spatial unit. Guess what that is? You guys know what that is?
Between the sun and the Earth.
Thanks, Tony. I didn't know that before.
You're welcome.
Jaron, you didn't know that. And Lando, I could tell you didn't know that.
I did not.
You know.
I learned that from reading The Expanse.
Nice. So yeah, there are 10 million asteroids that fly within that distance. So they're going to pick a few, and they're not saying which because they said they don't want to give it away to their competitors.
Secret.
Yeah. So, look, I didn't even get the noise. No kernel panic. There
Good
it is.
job.
That's it.
Yeah, that's very exciting stuff. It's one of those things that if the company ever gets it off the ground, they're gonna and makes it actually work. They're gonna be the next,
Oh yeah.
next biggest company in the world.
It still makes me think of
You know.
Look Up, the movie Look Up, which
Love
was
that movie.
absolutely infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's going to be an unintended consequence where they're going to be like, what if we just modify this Earth's this asteroid's orbit and we're going to just have it splash down in the ocean? That way we don't have to mine it, and then it'll go catastrophically wrong.
That could be a big problem.
Yeah. So
There was you need to
This is-
watch. You need to watch For All Mankind.
I have that, and I
There's an
want
entire
to.
the whole last season is asteroid mining.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was so good. That show is freaking phenomenal.
That's on my short list of ones to watch, just because it's Aaron Sorkin, isn't it?
No.
Ronald D.
Who-
Moore.
Oh, I thought it was from the same guys that did. Oh,
Same guy that
new
did
show.
Thought it
Battlestar
was a
Galactica.
Sorkin joint? Man.
like
No, it's the same guy that did the new Battlestar Galactica.
Oh,
Alternative facts here yet
And-
again.
that's not an alternative fact. It's a mistake, Jaron. I
It's an
openly
Owen
admitted
kernel
that.
panic.
I
You know what?
admitted that.
You know where-
And you're just eating moments up, making me defend myself and my
You know
stupidity.
where Ronald D. Moore cut his teeth, or at least was very early in his career?
Next generation.
Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yep.
Um,
So yeah, I'll watch anything that Ronald D. Moore makes. That guy, man, he writes some good sci-fi. Let's talk about SpaceTime now. Let's roll into that one.
That's a big issue. We want to go put a something on the moon, but the moon doesn't have geosynchronous orbit like satellites, GPS satellites, to keep the time. And so we need to find a way that everybody agrees on, first of all, for space.
This is
maritime-
actually talking about time. I thought this was
No,
something to do with
actually-
space-time.
No.
Like the
no.
fabric of space-time.
This
No,
is much
not-
more boring.
Yeah, this
much
is way
more mundane.
Yeah, sorry. It's actually about keeping time. I know that I
Yet
misled
another
you there.
Owen story.
Boom! I like that one. That one felt like an accidental troll.
It was.
Yeah. I'm gonna just say right now, I did not mean to do that, but I fully accept the.
The unintentional jokes
Yeah, I don't-
are usually the best.
Yeah, I don't know how to troll very well. So, anyway, there's some math on this article that really will just make you think that a kindergartner got a hold of a pencil, and then doing some maths. But they basically are taking these. There's a bunch of stuff basically, and they're taking it and making it so that we can have geosynchronous time, something that will match up. It's a big issue if you're going to have robots and stuff on the moon, and you're going to control it from Earth. You have to
what's
have
going on?
time that it makes sense between computers if it's going to automate, because
I'm
they
looking
can't
at
do different
these.
systems. So
I'm looking at these equations, and this is so far beyond anything I could
Yeah.
ever even imagine
said.
to comprehend. Holy cow!
yeah, they even say that they're like, here's some math that you won't understand at all, but you can look at it.
Nine out of 10 of these
Yeah,
of the things in these equations are not numbers. They're
Yeah.
letters and symbols.
yeah.
Like what? What?
50. The paper's body has 55 of them, and there are another
goodness.
67 the appendices. So
I
a
feel
lot
like
of the
there's a-
paper ends up looking like this, and then they
There's-
post what that looks like.
There's got to be an easier way to do
Yeah.
this.
So it's these
Probably
two scientists,
not,
Ashby and Patla. Anyway, this is all theoretical. They haven't done this yet, but the math checks out, if that makes sense. So
Why don't they
with
just
their
send a clock up to the moon.
like an atomic clock, but
Yep,
doesn't.
leave it there, and then just divide the moon up into hemispheres like Earth.
Shut up, Tony. That sounds way too smart.
I
Did
mean,
you tell them this?
I'm sure there's reasons they
You're
can't
like-
do this, but
You're
to
like,
my
I've
little
looked at all
pea
your
brain,
paper.
it
I
makes
looked at all your
sense.
paper, and why can't we just use an atomic clock, my guys?
Just send that up there. Who cares?
Yeah. Anyway,
there you
the
go.
great
Sometime-
thing about this is it's not just the moon. It's scalable for anywhere in the solar system because it uses the
Oh,
sun.
that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it uses the sun and its position and distance. Anyway, it's a huge mathematical calculation, but basically it's scalable to all space bodies, all
Okay, that's
solar.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Never mind. I take back my suggestion. That
No,
we failed
dude,
miserably.
I think atomic clocks work anywhere, unless you're traveling close to the speed of light, in which point
Right.
they would speed up.
No,
slow
the
down,
atomic clock
slow
stays
down.
going the same
That's
rate,
right.
but everything outside.
Yeah, that's right.
No, the other way.
It stays young.
It stays young, and everything outside of it ages.
Yeah, yeah.
Time
So
slows
time
for
is
the
slow,
person traveling at light speed.
Feels like I'm the one aging in this conversation.
Jaron, if you don't have
Heyo.
something constructive to say, just keep going.
Jared, it might be good for you, so you can actually look like an adult someday.
Boom. Nothing will ever
I
make
take
him
that
get
as a
tall.
compliment.
Yeah, nothing will ever make him taller, Tony.
I mean, it's true. You're the one of us that's going to be 50 and still look like they're in their 30s, and
Huzzah!
I've looked like I was 35 since I was 19, so that's just how it works.
Until one day you just look like Tom Cruise right now, where he's like, "Oh, what happened to that guy?
Isn't that true? Like
He was like young, then
uh,
suddenly
It was
what?"
the
Did you guys see him rappel off the thing at the Olympics?
yeah, it was the Olympics stuff that he shot that I saw him, and I was like, oh, he's starting to look old.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a lot of work. He's had a lot. He's doing a lot there.
All right, let's talk about a good thing that Apple did for once.
They do good things all the time, Tony. What are you talking about?
I stand by my statement.
I'm still
So-
bitter about the Patreon thing.
He said what he
Oh
said.
yeah.
Right? Oh man.
So, finally, Apple is going to let developers play with the NFC chip on the iPhone.
Android started doing this like 15 years ago.
Oh my
know.
gosh. I'm so sick of that comment.
But
Then
if
why
it
do they
still
keep doing
applies
it?
every time,
It's true. I mean,
Yeah.
Android has stolen plenty from iOS.
No
don't
doubt,
get me wrong.
No doubt, it goes both ways.
But,
But NFC,
come on, this is
come
pretty
on,
late.
The near field. Come on.
Yeah, this is way late to the party. But the
This
with
was a policy decision, not a technology decision.
Yep. With
Yeah.
this change, developers will be able to offer in-app contactless transactions for their apps, things like in-store payments, car keys, closed-loop transit stuff, corporate badges, hotel keys. All that
iPhones
kind of
can't
stuff.
do that
Nope.
already.
You have to do it within
Bluetooth.
the Apple.
You have to do it via Bluetooth because I know
No.
that we
You have
use.
to do it either via Bluetooth, which is different than NFC, or
Yeah.
via Apple's official
Their wallet thing or
NFC.
whatever.
Because
Apple Wallet.
we were using digital security cards, access cards on iPhone where I was at. It's an
So-
app with HID, and it turns
Yep,
your
we
phone
use
into the-
HID.
yeah, just
Yeah.
boop boop. But
That's probably
I
built
think it's
in
using
through their
the-
Apple
Has
wallet.
to integrate with Apple Wallet.
yeah,
Yeah. So you'll be able to do it now. The
Right.
Developers will be able to do it now without having to run it through the Apple Wallet stuff.
oh,
So
cool.
what I'm curious about, and I don't, it must apply to this as well. Does that mean that you don't have to have an Apple Pay like sign for the contactless payment now? It'll work.
Yeah, it would
on-
be different.
So
Just whatever is NFC.
So you should be able to just pay over NFC on anything instead of it having to be Apple Pay for an iPhone. That's
Right.
cool.
Makes
That's
it
neat.
more.
I don't think that really matters
It's
today, though.
not as much of a thing because Apple Pay's built into pretty much
Everything.
all.
Well, right, because they weren't playing ball. They were like,
Exactly. Everyone.
Well, I
has
guess
Now that they have
they
the
made the other
ecosystem
side.
set up, they're like, okay, yeah, we'll open it now.
yeah, they're
Right,
like-
exactly.
and everybody's like, but we already took the time to do it your way.
We know. All right, now let's talk about Pixel phones for a minute and Gemini.
We
on
reported
Pixel
last
phones.
week that on the Pixel event and Gemini, Google's version of AI, was a big new feature of it. Well, unfortunately, while it's a lot more natural to speak to, and you can get false information from it, like you would talking to Owen,
That's right. Boom! I saw that coming and I accept it.
it's a lot less functional than it used to be. Also, just like Owen.
Getting there. Age joke. I like it.
That's pretty good, Jaron. I approve.
Oh, thanks. Anyway, so here's a list of things that it no longer does that Google Assistant used to do. Gemini provides less useful information for local business queries compared to Google Assistant, lacking context and formatting. Gemini cannot take voice notes or save them in an app like Google Keep.
That's a big one.
To-do lists are no longer functional.
Gosh.
Gemini struggles with weather forecasts, often giving incorrect locations, unlike Google Assistant, which work perfectly. Turn-by-turn directions don't load. Music and podcast requests are YouTube only, whereas before you could do any, app that supported it.
No way.
This is terrible.
Gemini cannot directly access streaming apps for movies or shows, only suggesting content with no direct links. It cannot search for photos in Google Photos. Gemini fails to play or provide recent news. It doesn't have the daily news briefing feature anymore. Gemini does not support the automation of multiple actions through routines.
Holy cow, this seems like a downgrade from...
Gemini lacks the shortcuts feature available in Google Assistant. And in general, it is slower by a second or two versus Google Assistant. And when it comes to talking to things, that second or two is pretty important.
Does this disable Google Assistant, replace it?
I think it does.
Or do you have to opt into Gemini? Because I will not
it's
opt
on
in.
I think it's only on new Pixel phones.
Yeah, if that's a rip and
Shoot.
replace on those new phones from Google Assistant,
That's a feature
terrible.
That's a feature downgrade.
Yeah.
I use most of that stuff.
That's almost deal breaker territory.
Yeah. 'Cause,
I could care less. I couldn't care less. Which one is it?
It's- I
About
could not.
talking to a digital assistant. I want it to do things for me.
Yeah,
you
the
just want it to
functionality.
work.
It feels
Yeah.
like Google really took a move here to pull everything within their ecosystem again, being like, it doesn't work with anything outside of what Google wants you to have. Like,
And I'm sure over time they'll add this, but this isn't a
It's
good.
bad look.
I feel like we're beta
Upgrade.
testing for them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
I hope Apple's taking notes with Apple Intelligence here.
Yeah, don't.
I
do
mean,
that.
it can't be
releasing-
Siri
they're
can't be
releasing-
worse, right?
Nah, they'll release it in 10 years and say that they did it right. Say what you want about Apple. They wait. Like, they'll probably do NFC, even though they're 10 years late to the game. They'll probably do NFC better than Android has done it for the last 10 years because they just take the user data and they're like, well, here's all the problems with NFC. So
They
let's
have been
just do
using
it better.
NFC for years. Remember?
But like
we were
the
talking about
opening,
this.
but opening it up, the same
we'll see.
idea. Like, anyway,
We'll see. All right. Well, there you go. Thanks for nothing, Google.
seriously, I'm not gonna. I'm a Pixel. I'm a Pixel phone guy. I might have to go back to like the OnePlus or the Nothing or something.
Yeah, just don't
You
upgrade.
could
You'll
get
be
an
fine.
Apple.
I can't do that.
You can.
I don't have
Good.
any other Apple. All
But-
my stuff lives in the Android ecosystem.
That's easy to move. Just do it.
No, it's
could.
not. But I could. Then I would have that cool app called that cool.
You could be a member of the
Pro
Blue
logo.
Text Club.
I don't care about that. That's for losers.
Yeah, but all of us care about it.
No, they don't.
I don't actually care about
Yeah.
it. Now that
Only lose
RCS
it.
is coming,
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
RCS is coming. They're just
Matters
gonna
to
do.
me.
Yeah,
of course,
I'm
it
excited for
does.
RCS.
I'm a Blue Text elitist, baby.
Hold on, let me check.
Of course you are.
I do not care what you think. I just checked.
Speaking of Google and AI, they
Yeah,
are
go into
giving
this one.
publishers the finger here. Publishers have to decide whether they want their news content summarized by AI and be indexed by Google so that
Yeah.
they actually come up on Google search, or not indexed by Google at all with no AI summarizations.
Listen. You want to show up on Google search? You let us use it for AI training.
That's
period.
like paying for
No, it's not AI
protection.
training. It's summarizing AI in the search, so you don't actually have to click into the website. It's
Oh,
not,
so they don't even get the click
So
for it now.
This is
Yeah.
no
the
ad
same-
revenue. They're
this is-
stealing the ad revenue.
Yeah, this is the same
Uh-huh.
exact thing Google did a few years ago when they started offering summarizations or interesting pieces of a website when you search for it.
I
in the
guarantee
top.
you,
And
this
people
ends up with a
freaked out about that. But guess what?
lawsuit.
Guess what? Google still does it. They still get
This one's big though.
And this is
like,
why
they had
the
their-
Justice
they had-
Department has
I bet you the
determined their
EU
monopoly, and they're suing them.
I bet the EU flips out about this too, because
Oh, yeah.
that's absolutely unfair competition. Because in order to play on the search game field and be indexed and searchable and findable, you also have to allow this summary that makes it so you get no credit for going into the website and none of your app. Like, I guarantee you this results in anti-competitive lawsuits.
It's messed up.
Yep. Well, there you go. Thanks again, Google.
Google.
For nothing.
They just push the boundaries. They just constantly push the boundaries, you know?
AI has like totally made tech worse.
It's
Right.
made them super greedy, right? Like
I think the biggest problem that AI has made is a lot of these companies are far too quick to dive in completely on it instead of,
they're trying to
out
monetize it,
a
they're
little
trying
bit at a time and doing it right. They're just like, let's just go full on and rip and replace and have everything depend on AI now.
it's hot, right? It's hot right
So
now.
hot right now.
So
Hansel, AI, so hot right now.
it's so hot right now. I have one more AI story if we have time. Or do we?
Let's do a lightning round real quick.
Okay.
I have no lightning.
Okay.
Me neither.
All right.
Sweet, just me.
I got one.
Okay, let me see if I have one because my AI one's not lightning, but might be able to make it.
Oh, if it's not, then
It's not. Oh, I have a lightning. I've got a good one, the shark skin one.
oh yeah, do it.
Ready?
Yeah.
We're following nature again. Oh, okay.
Just kidding. Shark skin. On
shark
what?
shark skin on a plane. They are taking. What they found is that shark skin actually has these individual little rivulets on the skin at a microscopic level. They're doing that synthetically and putting it on planes, and it's creating a 10% increase in drag. This is how sharks glide through water more effortlessly than a smooth object.
I'm surprised
Oh,
that it's
interesting.
taken them this long to do that because they did this to
Swimsuits, yeah, for the
12
Olympics.
years ago.
Yeah.
And they actually got banned at the Olympics. You can't wear those shark skin suits
Oh,
anymore.
really?
That's why you don't
Nice.
see any swimmers wearing it anymore because
Oh, yeah.
it was
10%.
too much.
Can you imagine getting a 10% lift?
It reduced the drag in the water
Yeah.
massively.
So they're doing this for planes, and they're like, we are so determined to help with the environment. This will save us a 1%. 1% of the cost of that's what it's going to save.
oh, is that all?
That's
Really?
all. 1% of their total plane emissions if
That
everybody did
adds
it.
up.
That adds up.
Yeah,
Don't get me
it does
wrong,
because
but
it's
I
a
was
big,
hoping
it's a
for
very
more.
big number. It's a very big number. So 1% of that very large number is still not
Pretty
bad. But
Yeah.
I was really hoping for a better.
When you say 10% less drag, my brain
You'd
says
expect like
10%
10%
better
less.
fuel economy.
No.
Not so much.
I think
Okay.
that maybe they're hedging that so they can say, well, it's 10% less drag, but that means we're going to let way more weight on the plane. We can, and maybe that's what they can do. They can now, but
Take
they've
more
spent so much.
advantage of that extra.
Maybe carry more fuel. But they've been so strict and changed culture so much that you have to have such a small luggage bag now. And I mean, have you noticed the carry-ons are getting smaller and
That's
smaller
bullcrap.
and lighter and smaller?
That's nothing to do with the environment. That's more to do with they just want to charge you for an extra bag.
No, you don't think that's weight rated like for that?
No way. It is 100%. They want to be able to charge you more money.
Yeah.
Guarantee. All right, my lightning round. Starlink gets super fast for boats and planes. They are now testing new Starlink hardware for things like cruise ships and big planes and stuff like that. And they are getting fantastic bandwidth on these. We're
That's
talking
amazing.
8 gigabits down
8 gigabits.
and 3 gigabits up with
Wow.
a 40 millisecond ping
That's insane.
latency.
What kind of hardware can handle that type of?
I don't know, man, but this is fantastic because if you've ever been on a cruise ship
Yeah,
or an
that's like-
airplane, the internet on those things blows.
Yeah.
And so if you could actually,
well, what are they going to do? Charge?
It's still gonna blow.
They're still going to charge. They're going to charge you a premium for it.
Yeah.
now.
I'm not talking about price. I'm just talking about usability.
Yeah. Functionality. Yeah.
Even still, usability is gonna suck. I mean, they just don't know what they're doing.
You already have to pay so much
Well,
to go on a plane.
At least
Like,
the
am I going to
foundation.
pay?
The foundation will be there for it to be good if they have good network engineers
Yeah.
for the boats and
Yeah.
for the planes.
Well, I
Boats
think
and
it's the
hose.
business people not the engineers.
That's
Well, it's gonna
probably
be
a
it's
factor,
gonna be
too.
a first class. It'll be a upper deck. It'll be a first class perk, and then
first.
progressively they just
Yep.
chop the bandwidth down, and the lower you get, down here at
Give it-
the
in coach.
in coach
They
or
don't
in
call
the
it coach
in the
anymore. They call it economy.
down in the drowning chamber.
The
you
lower
get
decks.
the lower decks, if you will. You get the standard
what
D
do
link
they-
or quest link. What's that? DSL. You get the standard DSL.
What was the what did they call those bottom levels on the boats back in the day?
Galley.
Bear
Thunk.
I forgot. Yep.
Play the noise.
That
Feels
was
There
good
it
that
is.
that one was for you, not me. I mean, it's kind of
Bear-
Felt good, right? I liked it.
Bridge, stowage. No.
Brig?
No, not brig. Anyway, I'll think of it probably tonight around 2:30 a.m. I'll wake up and be like, oh, that was what it was.
Just superimpose your voice over the podcast.
Too much work. I don't care. All right. That is it for today's episode of Geek Show Helpdesk. Thank you for making it to the end. Thank you for downloading us. Before we head out, though, a big shout out to our awesome Patreon backers, patreon.com/HelpDeskArcade. If you donate $6 a month or more, you get a shout out on the air along with other perks such as the in-between, where we're going to talk about Wheel of Time
Aw.
and the Dresden Files today, and whatever else comes up. And you get the episode early. You get the arcade early.
I'm going into that in between fully armed. I feel like both of you are going to trash talk. One of you is going to trash talk on Dresden. One of you is going to trash talk on the Wheel of Time. And I love them both.
I
And
think
I'm
you're
going
right.
in double. I'm going in double shielded armor,
I'm gonna-
arms up.
I'm gonna get a
Locked and
snack.
loaded.
You're going to
You
sit here and
would.
listen is what you're going to do and become educated.
Eat popcorn like in that GIF.
Excuse me, popcorn.
Whoa, what was
That one snuck out. Sorry.
Yeah,
you
sure it
swore?
did.
You were burping now? What is this?
What kind
Chicken
of
soda.
Lando.
And I did the
we
surprise
better-
face with the open mouth,
we
You know what?
and it just
Are
came
you
right out.
High?
We better
know
make
what?
our
No.
Let's
Patreons and
just-
get out of here.
Yeah, let's just read the names, Jaron. We got to get out of here.
Big shout out and thank you to our ultra special tech daddies, David Broshinsky, Aaron Faulkner, Connor Keesaw, and Wiffleball Tony. Thank you to Jason Eatman, Mies Chonies, If It Flies, It Spies, Archie, the archivist, B, the 8-year-old, Michael
Don't mess
Shane,
this up, Jared.
Tony, the home theater geek, Travis Johnson, buy
mess it
Geek
up.
Show Arcade Help Desk stickers at Pineman Graphics on Etsy. All proceeds go to Lee George Cades, Medical Bills, Jeremy, No Name, No Color, Keslow, Eric Steinman, Eric Cruz, in between rating plus 10.
Don't screw it up.
That went down. Matt Nelson, Harry Patch, Wesley, Adam, Stuart Lloyd. The problem with society is there are no molehills that can't be mountain climbed over. Nathan Drake in A24. That's amazing. I like that. And Adam Hecht. Thank you guys.
Wow, 2 in a row. He did it.
think
No,
that he
he's not
did.
into. Oh, he did the
Yeah,
he did the
his
game
la-
show last week.
yeah.
Arcade. He did
Sure
it right in
did.
arcade. There you go. Look at
The
him.
pressure was
delivering
on.
under- delivering
Change that.
under
Is that?
pressure.
Who is that? Is that?
I
Squink?
got it
Let's
out
swing.
on
Squink.
Archie the Archivist. That's
You're in charge.
That's
what
true.
happened.
That's when your Colonel Panic hit.
Find a new one, Squink. That's
All right. Well, there you go. That is the end of today's episode. Thank you so much once again. And we will see you in Geek Show Arcade or next week in Geek Show Help Desk if you don't want to learn about video games. Until then, Lando, take us out.
So, when you run out of hard drive space, no big deal. Just go and delete those 10 years worth of emails off your desktop. Be an end user.